Where to go to find what you don't know. Great real estate websites that contain many of the answers that you're looking for. Good morning. Welcome to Title Time with Mike and Mike. This is the October 24th edition. My name is Mike Rennick. I'm the senior broker and the team lead with Team Rennick Real Estate Services. We're part of that. We're proud to be part of that Keller Williams on the Water family, serving the west coast of Florida, based out of Sarasota and Bradenton. My guest today and our leader in terms of how to find the information you're looking for is Mr. Hankin. Michael is an attorney with the law firm of Hankin & Hankin. He practices primarily in the areas of residential and commercial real estate transactions. He's an approved agent for Chicago Title Insurance Company, the Attorney Titles Insurance Fund, and the Old Republic Title Insurance Company. He's been designated as a board-certified real estate attorney, the highest level of recognition by the Florida Bar, and all around, he's a great guy. He's a super friend, an outstanding attorney, and someone that you can always turn to when you have a question. So let me, and by the way, when I do this, he's sitting down in the lobby in the software, and he can't stop me. So he has to put up with his introduction, but it's well-deserved. He's a great guy. Michael, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. Good morning. We do have to shorten down that introduction one of these days.
You know, I'm working on that. There's so many good things to talk about with you that I don't know how to do that and not cheat you, and I will not do that.
Well, I appreciate it. Today, I wanted to talk about where you go when you get information that you don't have. Your decisions generally are only as good as the information that you have to make them with. And so I wanted to start out with really the number one website I use on a day-to-day basis. And you can find links to all of these. We'll be linking through to all of these from our website, SarasotaLawFirm.com. There's a great resources section that links to all of these and is a really easy place to go through it. So I'll be kind of walking Mike through this. Mike's controlling the computer there. So you see Mike clicked on the resources section. And we'll start out under Sarasota County, under the selection for property appraiser there. And here, this by far is the site I use more than any other site to get information about property in Sarasota. We'll just jump right in. Mike, if you'd click on search up top and then advanced search below. We'll start out, we'll just pick a random property. We'll do the last house I sold on Mike under the address, do 5523. And then space Oak, O-A-K. And what's really neat is it just fills it in for you. You can click on the selection that it's auto done, and then click on search down below. And that pulls up the property here. There is so much great information on here. If we can just stop here for just 1 second and take a look. So starting up there, you'll see who the current owner is, and we'll want to write that down. We'll use that later in some of the searching that we'll do. It shows, most importantly, the address of the owner there. That address is important because it shows whether or not the owner of that property is getting their tax bills at that address. So you can see if it's homestead or non-homestead property and kind of at least give you an idea as to, if you're a buyer, how the seller's using the property. It shows you the land area of the property up there in the top right, 10,000 square feet. The subdivision, which is Three Oaks Unit 1, that's going to be important for some of our searching, so it would be a great thing to write down as well. The zoning of the property, and going down below, this is a great feature on here. You'll see it has a place where it has the buildings and it shows the address of the property as a hyperlink. Mike, go ahead and click on that hyperlink for me under that buildings tab on the top left there. So this is a summary of some information about the property. And what I really like about this, if you scroll down a little bit there, Mike, and scroll a little bit more.
That's it.
On my version, it has a map, kind of like a sketch, a floor plan of the property, which is very helpful And it lets, at least when we were, for instance, purchasing this property, it let us kind of get an idea of the different room sizes and how things were laid out. So it may just not be popping up. It may be a pop-up blocker, but it's something that would normally be on this page. I think this was a new tab, Mike, so if you'd go back to the old tab if possible. So kind of back here at the main information, over by living area, you'll see the number of square feet. That's a great thing to look at to compare to what the MLS listing has. That gives you ideas if what the county understands the square footage of the house is, whether or not that's different from what the seller represents. That'll give you a good idea if there's a potential for, let's say, unpermitted improvements that the county's not aware of. So a great little piece of information here. Continuing down under values, you'll see on 2018, if you take that row and cross that over, there's a cap. And what that cap is a limitation on the amount the taxes can increase each year. So when a property transfers, that cap is lost. So any new buyer of this property will be paying taxes at a higher assessed value than what the current tax bill is. So that's something that you can take a look at and just note another great asset of this site. What's great also about the site is it links you to other sites which give you some great information. So well, before we get there, let's down here, you'll see transfers of the property. If you go down just a little bit more for me, Mike. And this is great information here. You can see what the last seller sold it for, what the seller before them sold it for. So you can get a pretty decent idea as to where where the seller is and what they have into the property. So a nice little additional piece of information there. Now, Mike, if you go all the way back to the top, we'll link to some other great websites. One that's a little bit more advanced is the GIS mapping feature. And we'll touch on that a little bit. If you'd click that blue link that says map there on the kind of left-hand side above the, yep. Now this is going to link to Sarasota County's GIS mapping site. And it has just an unbelievable wealth of information. It's going to give you an aerial overhead view of the property, and it will give you an option on the top right to select different layers so you can view future land use maps. You can view the current zoning of the property. You can click around from one property to another on this. And if you want to see all that same information we just looked at for this house, you can click on the neighbor's house or the neighbor's house and then just click right through. So this is a really neat tool to help to look in the neighborhood for, where the other homes are, and you can get some summary information on them right there. I could spend literally a whole day talking about the different things on the GIS map, so we won't spend all that time. If you go back, if you would, to the Sarasota Law Firm page, we'll go to our next site, which I'll ask under Sarasota County if you type official records, or not type, rather, click on official records. And then under the official records tab, on the menu bar up top, you'll click search official records. And then here, let's say that house we just looked at, you're representing a buyer and you want to see how much does this seller actually owe on the property. So what you can do is actually type the seller's name into that box, last name first, first name last. And don't worry, I didn't expect you to remember the name. The last name is Ferez, F-E-R-E-S.
Like the one I've got on the form.
Oh, yep, you actually did. Good job, Mike. And then click search down below. So what's neat here is we can see all the different things that are indexed under that particular owner's name. So you can see a deed, a mortgage, a notice of commencement. But if you look up top on that first deed and mortgage, those reference a different property under the legal description. Those reference, come through a little blurry, but I think it's a Grove Point property. So really what we're looking at is that bottom one. We're interested in the Three Oaks property. We see the deed when that seller bought, when that buyer bought the property, and then we see the mortgage down below that they got when they bought that property. So let's go ahead and click on the view text to the left there. And this will pull up the actual mortgage document that the person signed. It always does that. It comes out small, and you actually have to click the little magnifying zoom glass in the top left-hand corner of that. And so there you can see, and you can kind of scroll down a bit. In the bottom of that first page, it will show you the formatting comes out a little strange. You may need to, oh, there you go. The amount of the mortgage, a little bit further down than that. You may need to scroll there, and then so it shows 230,000. So there, if you were making an offer on the property, what a great piece of information to know is how much the seller owes. So you know at least the least amount they could accept, or 235,000 there. So just another great resource, really easy to go online, look things up by people's names. This certainly doesn't substitute for a full title search and title insurance. There's things out there that are sometimes misindexed, although it's rare. This is just really for informational purposes. I'll give you one last really powerful feature. Let's go back to the Sarasota Law Firm page and the resources there. And then we'll go to the property appraiser again. I'd like to show you one other feature on the, well, let's go back. This is the Manatee County one. I'll show you the Sarasota County one. On this page, on the resources page, I have links to all of these different websites for Sarasota, Manatee, and Charlotte counties. So let's do property appraiser down below. And then here we're going to go back to the advanced search. So search and advanced search. And this is just a wonderful way to look up comparables. So if we, under subdivision there, type the words Three Oaks. And then we'll actually take out the unit 1 because we're going to be looking for comparables in all of Three Oaks. And then that should, yep, that'll then pull results from each of those different units. And then one little thing you need to do, if you scroll down a little bit, we're going to look for comps that have sold, let's say since January 1st of this year. So under sales date range, in that first box, you'll want the box to the left of that. Let's go back to, say, January of this year. And January, any date's fine in there.
It didn't take it.
It actually makes you pick a particular date. It's a little persnickety. There we go. And then we'll do today's date for the 2 range. And perfect. And then under sales price range for the first number there, put $101. And the reason we're doing that is we don't want transfers of only $100, which is the minimum amount they report on any transfer. We're only looking for actual sales. So let's go down to the bottom, and you can click search at the bottom here. And this is awesome. This shows you all of the comparables in Three Oaks, which have sold since January of this year, direct from the property appraiser. It's even a more complete database than the MLS has because it includes properties that were sold by owner. But just a wonderful resource. You see as you're scrolling through, each property is listed and it says the date it was sold and the price it was sold. So if you're looking in a community and you're trying to figure out what's sold in there, what are the comparables, this is a wonderful tool. If you're a little bit more technologically inclined or have a statistics background, the property appraiser even has a feature on here which will let you export all of this information to an Excel spreadsheet. You can create graphs, do all sorts of fun stuff. So really a great source of information. There's a ton of other sites today that I won't have time to get in today. These are really the main ones that I concentrate on and I spend the lion's share of my time getting information from. If there's questions or really the number one thing you can do when you're starting this process is hire a good realtor who knows how to look through these things, who knows how to get this information, so that when you're out there, you have the information to make the decision. As I said at the beginning of this session, your decisions are only as good as the information that you use to make them. And with this information, hopefully your buyers can make better decisions than your sellers, and your sellers can make better decisions than your buyers. Whoever you represent will hopefully have a competitive advantage, I think, with this information that, although publicly available, is not often utilized. So that's our session for today. Any questions, comments? I'll even take a limerick if you got one.
Michael, I know here. Outstanding job. I appreciate it. If folks want to reach you, what's your office phone number?
You can call me anytime at 957-0080. That's, of course, the 941 area code. And always happy to be a part and happy to help.
Michael, that was fascinating information. I'm going to go back and spend some time playing with those links. I appreciate that. And we'll be back again next week with Title Time with Mike and Mike.
Sounds great, Mike. Thanks so much.
All right. Thank you. Awesome job, Michael. Really appreciate it. Take care now.
Appreciate it. Thanks.